U.S. lawmakers recently proposed a new defense bill, one that means that you are automatically signed up for the draft.
Private, you will do as you are told.
An increase in the defense budget to $895 billion for America's biggest business.
He can't say that.
Sir, you can't
Is he
say that.
allowed to say
I'll
that?
say it louder.
And as a father, are you scared?
Very, very, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now and stuff that's happening and everything. Yeah, I think him going over there would not be a good idea, or anyone's child, unless they signed up to go ahead and go for it. Being forced, I'm totally against it.
Brandon Richards from Southfield is one of many people and parents who I spoke with about Congress passing its version of H.R. 8070. The National Defense Authorization Act was passed by the House with a 217 voting yes and 199 voting no. This bill will unlikely be taken up by the U.S. Senate. The amendment would automatically register men ages 18 to 26 with the Selective Services System for a possible draft. The new automatic registration system would replace the existing system that has been in place since 1980.
I don't feel that it's fair. My son will have to go ahead and go and fight for his country. Now, it's okay if you have a choice. Now, if we sign up for it, yeah, but to be forced, I don't think that, every American should have to go through that.
We know that the U.S. already has a draft program, the Selective Service. About the time you're 18, you get a card in the mail, fill it out, send it back, and you're signed up. My first thought when I heard about this was, what impending conflict are we gearing up for?
Find out what it is, we'll know what we're up against.
There are currently about 1.3 million people in the active duty military. That's second only to China and India. I talked in my first video on this channel about how the numbers are dwindling. In 2023, there was a shortfall of 41,000 new recruits. That means they're not getting enough people in for the people that are getting out. That's a problem for the U.S. One of our greatest assets to the entire world is our military. So if we don't have enough people coming in versus the people that are getting out, that means they have to supplement that number somehow. And I'm seeing that this automatic draft is their way to do that. The U.S. needs able-bodied young men to fight their wars, and they're asking in the Selective Service for men between the ages of 20 and 26. When I first heard this, it reminded me of a poem by Shakespeare called The Seven Ages of Man. And one of those ages is the soldier, young guys that are bold and looking for something to defend, and that's exactly who the military wants. When the House proposed the bill, there was no mention of women. But since it's been in the Senate, they have drafted, no pun intended, a version that includes women. We talk a lot in this country about freedom, but a small part of that freedom is an illusion. When you're asked to participate in something, whether you agree or disagree, under the penalty of imprisonment.
You tell us the law. Right. Well, you've always been required, if you're a male between 18 and 24, 25, between that age range, you could be subject to more than $250,000 in various costs, as well as possible federal incarceration if you didn't fulfill that mandatory requirement. At the end of the day, this is a way for them to say, well, you could be eligible. We haven't had one since '73, but we could make you go to war.
Ilyas Salman, a law professor at George Mason University, said this about the draft. The idea undermines one of the fundamental principles of a free society, that people own themselves and their labor. We are not the property of the government, of a majority of the population, or of some employer. Mandatory national service is a frontal attack on that principle, because it is a form of forced labor, literally so. Being automatically signed up for the draft doesn't guarantee that you're going to be drafted, but objectors of the bill asked an important question. What would constitute an emergency where we need to implement the draft? I know there are ongoing conflicts with some of our allies, Ukraine, Israel, but how can the government justify sending our men and our women to go fight a war in another country? The U.S. government proposing to automatically sign people up for the draft goes against one of the fundamental principles of this country. Liberty, freedom. Freedom for the government to choose what's best for you. This is why we have an all-volunteer military. And the idea of being automatically signed up for the draft and the potential of that draft being implemented doesn't sound a lot like freedom to me. That's the video for today. Like and subscribe. If you have anything that you want to comment and contribute to the conversation, leave it down in the comment box. Until next time, peace.